In most Minecraft ARGs, there are two distinct and separate components. There are the characters up on stage, plagued by some phenomenon like corrupted worlds or mysterious entities. They call to the audience seeking help. Has anyone else had this happen to them? Am I alone? In response, there are the players of the game. They can solve the puzzles and leave comments in order to influence the characters. Without the players, there is no story, yet they're limited in their participation. But what if they could be more? What if the alternate reality game and storyline wasn't a false reality locked away behind a YouTube screen, but here in the Minecraft world with the players? I'm not talking about adding horror mods. I'm talking about creating a story where the players are dragged down the rabbit hole and into the story as characters too. The horror isn't just an entity. It's in the players' actions. How far will they push each other? To what extent will they work together, hurt each other, love each other, and kill each other for the sake of reaching a story's ending? This is the story of the SCUTTLE ARG, a Minecraft ARG created to save a Minecraft server from destruction. Let's go back to April 11, 2025, a few weeks after the launch of FanCivSMP, a casual server I played on that was full of Minecraft fan artists. It all started out with this sign that appeared at spawn. Bold neon words stated, "I have Onion Rat," our Minecraft server's most beloved pet cat. Onion Rat belonged to the Garlic Hamster Church, a faction with virtually no enemies. But it seems someone sought to take advantage of their current weaknesses. You see, Onion Rat used to have a cousin named Garlic Hamster, whom the church was founded around, but he disappeared mysteriously a few days ago, only leaving behind bloodstains. In case Garlic Hamster was out there, alive and waiting to return, we had to find Onion Rat and keep him safe. So, we had no choice but to follow the trail of breadcrumbs and play the kidnapper's game. Luckily, within minutes, the players pieced together the YouTube link and discovered this video, uploaded by Nameless, filmed mere blocks away from world spawn. The player, careful to hide their arm, hotbar, and any other visual cues towards their identity, runs towards the Garlic Hamster Church. With premeditated ease, they find a barrel in the ground to stash this book in, all while letters flash on screen. Panic seizes the Nameless player, and they stumble off the bridge into the water. As they sink deeper into it, the video cuts to black with the final letters, revealing the word it spells to be control. My partner Ash Ghostbos and I decided to check out the location of the barrel and see what was inside of the book. It read, Thankfully, the server's more experienced players were on the case. Ian, a player interested in ciphers, discovered that this was a Visionaire cipher, a complex substitution cipher using the key control. Without knowing the key, you can try to brute force a Visionaire cipher, but it's typically harder since one letter gets encoded into multiple different ones. The ciphertext read, "Always be careful around Crab. You never know who is in control or if it is watching. I need you to go to the first mine. We need to go deeper. Seek the cyan light." I'm Crab, so things were not looking too good for me. Sure, I had enemies, but why was Onion Rat's kidnapper of all people throwing suspicion on me? It also didn't help that I'd previously fought with the Garlic Hamster Church's priest, Iceberger. Though I initially suspected them of Garlic Hamster's disappearance back then, I doubt this ARG was a work of Ice. They were too kind, too virtuous, no matter how hard I provoked and harassed them. But well, nothing could be proven at this time. All I could do was try to help the investigation along. Let's look at the clues. The first mine, go deeper, and cyan light. The video was filmed in front of the Garlic Hamster Church, coincidentally near this old mining staircase that's existed ever since day one. At the bottom, we find another portal, calling to mind the Minecraft advancement for going to the nether. Once you step through, bingo. A cyan soul lantern with a URL written on the sign. It's a plain blue website with a simple phrase. The water is cold. But by highlighting the page to search for hidden text, we get a clue to look 3 blocks below. We dug and found another barrel with a similarly encoded book as the first. Using the hint from the website's title and description, we can decode the book using a Visionaire cipher with the key underwater. Last night, I dreamed that I was waist deep in water underneath the moon. I felt each and every sand grain beneath my toes, and it blossomed around me like a flower. You see, the thing is, my kind does not dream. Someone else, or something else, was in control of me last night. Based on the details, the location it described could only be the pond outside of a base of a player by the name of Hat. Minecraft's deadliest queerbaiter. Since this was a casual survival roleplay SMP with a bunch of queer artists in the parkour civilization fandom, we all aspired to be just like our favorite queerbaiters, Seawat and Evbo. This meant status wasn't determined by PvP skill or the fact that I owned the SMP, but rather how hard you could do gay roleplay on Minecraft. So, in order to avoid conflict with Hat, I stayed back while my Minecraft wife Ash Ghostpools went to the location to retrieve a clue. It was a link to another video uploaded by Nameless. Eerie music box music plays before the video ends with a sequence of Morse code. Transcribing and decoding this gives us a set of numbers. -79, 146. For any Minecraft player, this is a no-brainer. We opened F3, dug down on those coordinates, and dropped right into the room shown in the video. The book's contents contain the following in plain text.
I think it took onion rat, maybe even garlic hamster. I have these hazy memories. I'm pretty sure they aren't mine, but I can feel its animosity. It wants me to kill and maim. I think for now, I will keep my updates on here. I'll see if I can leave another one with my newest investigations on what it is. Maybe in a few days, like April 13th.
As I waited for the next clue to drop, I reran Nameless's phrasing through my mind. I think it took onion rat. Not at all like the original threatening note that appeared at spawn saying I have onion rat. If you were a kidnapper, why would you start a witch hunt by declaring yourself a public enemy, only to backtrack and claim it was someone else? Guilt? Panic? I had a lot of theories, but one stood above the rest. Nameless and it share control over a body, but not a consciousness.
Someone else or something else was in control of me last night.
When it was in control, it kidnapped Onion Rat, and Nameless was racked with guilt over being unable to stop it. By posting this ransom note at spawn with a lead hidden behind encryption, something that required the cooperative and united efforts of the server to solve, it would deceive it into thinking Nameless was willingly taking the fall alone. But in reality, they were secretly gathering a force of motivated detectives to discover the real truth. This was, of course, assuming it wasn't smart enough to decode the ciphers, or else it would be committing mass destruction on the server right now. There was also a chance that Nameless had hostile intentions towards the players and was attempting to manipulate us, but who knows. When April 13th finally arrived, a book titled Legs Man His Claws appeared at the location of the video, with its contents being a number-based cipher. I sat dazed in my crabshell base, watching the messages roll in on Discord. I didn't need to say anything, I already knew. The crab's 10 legs, subtract 2 claws to get 8, or an octal cipher.
Yesterday, I watched Crab become invisible and start attacking the others. It was like an out-of-body experience. Their face seemed uncanny, as if wearing a mask made from human skin. When Crab respawned, he was back in that empty shell of a base. He acted like he didn't know where he was, but I remembered. I was there. If there's anywhere out there reading these, you haven't gone deep enough. Return to the water's directory. Dive to the abyss.
I asked around the server. Apparently, the Onion Rat incident wasn't the first time I dissociated and lost control of my body. It explained a lot, like why some of my friends were on edge around me and why Nameless wrote about being careful around me. But there was one person I knew I could trust to never lie to me nor shun me away. Someone too infallible and noble. The Garlic Hamster Church's priest, Iceberger. Since when? I don't remember killing anyone, at least not anyone who didn't deserve it. No. Then what do you feel for me? If it's fate, you fight it, and if it's destiny, you choose to follow it. The truth is, a few days before all of this went down, I was given a role by one of the players on the server in exchange for something I wanted. I just never thought that this would be the role I would be playing. A host for a parasite, a puppet for a scheme I wasn't privy to. The player who kidnapped Onion Rat, the player everyone's been trying to hunt down, and the player that broke Garlic Hamster and Ice's trust is me. But since I've willingly chosen to follow my destiny as the ARG creator so desired, all I can do is try to help others as much as I can. First, return to the water's directory. Dive to the abyss. We thought this might have been a hashtag on social media or a hint telling us to dig underwater, but nothing came up. However, if you know a bit of basic knowledge about websites, you'll know that the part that comes after the domain in this URL is the subdirectory. Sub meaning under. We return to the underwater website we discovered and access the secret page by adding /#theabyss to it. pbin, standing for pastebin. It seemed henceforth Nameless would be using a double-layered cipher composed of Rod 13 and key Visionaire. This would make it hard to brute force the key or use an autosolver. We could decipher the message in the pastebin by using Visionaire, key hands, and Rod 13.
I think it doesn't know that I exist, or else it would have wiped my memories too. When it possesses Crab, I can observe it undetected. What Crab doesn't remember, I will.
Nameless's pastebin profile has this other file, which is encoded the same way as the first.
To the ring where fists fly and lives are lost, where disputes are settled and victims sacrificed, below the southwest pillar.
We made our way to the place the clue described, the fighting ring. We dug underneath the pillar located on the southwest and found a lodestone compass. Unlike a normal compass that points northward towards spawn, this compass points to a waypoint somewhere in the world. We just had to follow it. We piled on top of each other and made our way to this warm ocean where the location was. It was here that Nameless asked us for our names. The names of the dedicated few who wanted to help bring justice to Onion Rat. Along with some other players, Ash, Ice, Hot, Satu, and Ez, I wrote my name, yet it felt like I was signing away my soul. It was a couple nights after Onion Rat disappeared that I sought out Ice once more. Since that time they told me about wishing for my happiness, I kept calling them a fraud to the garlic hamster's ideals and lashing out at them for being so kind to someone who would not do the same. So why do I keep challenging Ice when I know I'll always lose? After everything, why did I come back here like a lost sailor to a lighthouse?
Hey, Ice? Why do you keep trying to save a sinner like me? Don't lie to me. And answer truthfully. What do you really think about me? Then I need to ask something of you. When the time comes, I need you to stop me.
My body wasn't mine anymore, but this love was. It was all I would allow myself. Someday, as promised, I would let it end me. Tomorrow would be the day the server reconvened and discussed the findings of the ARG. The hours ticked down, but I could only think about the person by my side. In the blink of an eye, I stood in court before the rest of the server.
So, the first court hearing we're going through is the divorce between Ash and, Wait, what?
Ash Ghostballs, a lead investigator for the ARG/Onion Rat hunt, and my wife. As a ghost with no memories from life, the world was only just beginning for Ash. In a short time frame, they'd come to know me as friend, partner, and wife. I'd become their everything. With my deal with the ARG creator, I knew the road I had to travel down would only run into oceans and ruins. So, as my final act of love, I left, and made sure Ash would never want to follow. I looked to the judge, Lemon, as he officially approved the divorce. I considered him a friend, but after this, I couldn't blame him for not thinking the same. A scandalous affair with a religious official born out of selfish desires. That's what this was. Would this be a good enough performance? Would this be enough to keep everyone safe from that rotting thing inside of me? Ice led me to the Garlic Hamster Church, where Lemon awaited us as the officiator of our wedding. With court at recess, the other SMP members could only begrudgingly show up as wedding guests. Of course, that didn't mean I didn't feel their hostility. The verbal attacks evolved into physical ones as Hat, his partner Satu, and his son Clover kept fighting me. Yet, through it all, in the moment, all I could see was Ice, the person I would marry and the person who would someday sacrifice himself for my salvation. Afterwards, Judge Lemon ruled that I would remain free, albeit with mandatory therapy and community service. As everyone else was dismissed, it was just me, Ice, and Ash alone in the courthouse.
Listen. Hey, wait. I'm not I'm not fucking done yet.
Ash, think about this.
I wanted to help you. I would have done anything to make things better. You didn't give me a chance. You didn't give me a chance to let me change anything. I thought I was important to you. I can't take this. I don't want to be alone.
You don't want to be alone,
just,
then let's die together.
Put it in your hand.
No, I won't. I die here.
In your hand right now.
I die here.
Look, everything you've been doing to me. I'm not asking you for anything except to just put that in your hand and look at me. I think this is it. I think that's... yeah, that's it for me.
On April 15th, a few days after my remarriage, Nameless dropped another clue. All the players who had left their name in the book that was by the Lodestone Compass Room, me, Ash, Ez, Hat, Satu, and Ice, woke up with these images outside their bases. Using online software, Satu discovered that the images, when pieced together properly, formed what appeared to be an encoded URL. We were able to access the link once Ez, who was roped into this by his best friend and teammate Ian, suggested Morse as the key. There's 6 different images, but all depict these blue mushroom structures. Buried under each mushroom was a barrel labeled with numbers. Within each barrel was a slip of paper with a line of code. After rearranging the code in the order of the barrel numbers, we used a base 32 decoder, as hinted to us by this frame from the video. Finally, we got to this website with a timer that counted down to April 18th. The title was Divinity, presumably to be our next Visionaire key. But the word called to mind something else that had recently happened. Just a day prior, an upside-down cross appeared at the Garlic Hamster Church, with an ominous message to be careful what we wished for. At first, I disregarded it since the methods were unlike those of Nameless's, plain text in plain sight for everyone to see and lacking any trace of blue. And, most obviously, I know the person behind the ARG. We literally have a contract together. This wasn't the work of Nameless or any other entity by the creator. Which means the players were making their own moves. Was this a threat? An attempt to hijack the storyline? Another player involved with the investigation, Malter, guessed that this was a manifestation of someone's wish. A new character created to put pressure on it. More characters were appearing on stage, variables the creator could have never predicted. How would the story unfold now? The hours ticked down to the next clue drop on the Divinity website. I logged on in anticipation, and that's when I noticed that the Garlic Hamster Church was burning. Is this what it meant by be careful what you wish for? But even so, this was just too cruel. How many sacrifices would Ice have to take in silence? And what have I accomplished? All I've managed to do is hurt Ice over and over again. Again? When did I love you, Ice. 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 1 hour later, the Divinity website updated. You might think that -47289 refers to coordinates. You'd be wrong, because after thoroughly digging out these chords, we found a sign telling us to use a chunk number. And guessing by mine it all out, our search area wasn't a single block, but this 16 by 16 chunk all the way from surface to bedrock. After 1 hour of mining, we eventually found 2 barrels. The first, named 2 images in 1, contained the beginning of a Flickr URL. The second, named magic number JPEG, contained the second half. Accessing the link brings us to an image with the title Steganography. Now, the title Steganography usually refers to hiding things inside images. For example, text that's only visible if you turn up the image's contrast and brightness. Or if you open up an image in a notepad, there might be a piece of plain text string hidden. We did some research on what the magic number JPEG could mean, and found out that it referred to a file signature in an image's hex data. Basically, file types can be stored as hex data, also known as base 16. If you try to decode it to plain text, it comes out as gibberish. But to a computer, this is vital information about how to load the file. There's a file signature or magic number that tells the software that this is the start of the file and what kind of file it is. Think of it like how in HTML you can write header. The magic number for JPEGs is FFD8. Now if we open the Scuttle image in a hex editor, it turns out there are 2 images of FFD8, which means there are 2 JPEG images in one. If you think this puzzle came out of left field, don't worry, we thought so too. Until one of the players, Chroma, realized that hex data uses hexadecimal, which Nameless has already been using in their website domains. Not only that, but one of the first ciphers they used was octal. Guess what? Hex data is stored in pairs of 8 bits, or octets. After 2 long torturous hours, ICE discovered that by taking the hex data, starting from the second instance of FFD8, and exporting it as a JPEG, we get this image. Based on the purposeful redaction of file 01, we get a hint to go to the crab base and the bottom of the world. So that's how I ended up here, watching as the rest of the server broke into my house and started digging down. At bedrock level was this blue room with signs on the walls and mushrooms everywhere. A single letter of a URL was on each sign. When combining them together and running prop 13 and Visionaire Hands, we get a Google Drive link to a 7-zip file. It's password protected, but Nameless had us covered. Nameless was finally giving us the answers we needed. Firstly, it has a name, the Scuttle, and it is something akin to the resentful spirit of a deity. It awoke once its body was dug up, desecrated, and brought to the surface to become my crab base, so technically speaking, it was my fault that something was committing manslaughter using my face. As for Nameless, they're a fungal network of blue mushrooms. They've been leading us in the right direction for the sake of the server all this time, but it isn't easy to trust someone without a name, whether it be because they're too cowardly to reveal it, or because they've never been loved by anyone enough to receive a name. But we were here now. At the center was a lectern, with a book written in plain text.
You need to hurry before it gets more powerful and takes over more players.
What did it mean, takes over more players? By following the directions of the Project Scuttle files, we get a link. A countdown until April 20th. 2 days. That gives us plenty of time to discuss what the hell just happened. When Ice killed me, somehow they were possessed by it. After that, I blacked out until I woke up at my base again. When I crawled through the server chat logs to check how many people I had killed, I was horrified to discover that Ez had been possessed by it as well. I felt guilty. Ez was only here because his best friend Ian, with their bleeding heart, wanted to be helpful and contribute to solving the ARG.
What's been happening with you? What are they all talking about? Then what is all this possession stuff? I'm just worried.
Was the ARG's director making deals with other people because my character alone wasn't enough? Because I dared to think for a second that I could escape my fate? April 20th rolled around, and the website updated, with text reading 5. By adding a slash and hash to the end of the site URL, just like we did for the underwater directory, we discover an image. Upon clicking it, we get this. We were now on 4 instead of 5. We clicked on the image and reached 3, then 2, then 1. An audio file with the familiar music box in the background. We figured out that we could download this audio and view it as a spectrogram. The different frequency outputs formed a rudimentary image of a set of coordinates. Eager to head to the coordinates, we logged on and... when it appeared on the Atonement website, it wasn't just a clue from Nameless. It was a window, and the numbers were a countdown. Scuttle knew about what Nameless was up to. Scuttle was solving the clues with us. The only question is how long? Was it when Nameless wrote that one lectern in plaintext? When Ice and I got possessed while in the headquarters? Or even further back? We checked the lectern again, and a new message sat waiting for us in a simple substitution cipher.
One way to atone and make things normal again. Crab must die permanently, and return me to whence I came from.
and at the end in reverse plain text.
Isn't it funny how easy it is to act like you?
At the chords was a barrel named Help. Within it lay a ciphered book and a warp mushroom renamed to a pastebin link. It seems Scuttle hadn't touched this part. That is, if we're assuming it hasn't already replaced Nameless and started impersonating them. The book was in the usual Rot 13 and Visionaire key Help.
How long has it known I've existed and just laid in wait until I slipped up in my encryption? How long has it been watching me? How did it get so powerful? A deity it may be, but still a former decrepit one. Unless someone has been praying to it. I need you to do something. Anything. I refuse to believe the answer is given to its demands. Listen, I'll give you the course for Onion Rat, somewhere in the back of my mind.
The last line was a locked pastebin with the password Fear, giving us a set of coordinates. Was this real or a dream? Shakily, we all made our way to the coordinates and dug.
There's a cat! We found Onion Rat!
Huh? Oh my god! It's Onion Rat!
Wait, what?
After a long and terrible journey, Onion Rat was home. As repayment, we nursed Nameless's wounds, feeding their mushrooms lots of bone meal and extinguishing the flames. But while wandering the server in search of their fruiting bodies, Lemon found a shrine. It showed signs of being in disrepair, but the offerings before it were brand new. Someone on the server was actively praying to it. Or, I guess, Greg. Now that we rescued Onion Rat, we didn't really have to help Nameless. There was one easy way out, to fulfill Scuttle's demands and stop its terror. But did we have the conviction to? FanCivSMP was going to have one last trial. The trial for my death. April 24th came, 2 weeks since the start of this whole mystery. In the early hours of the morning, a giant mushroom sprouted where the obsidian pillar used to be. Nestled inside was a barrel containing a link to an unlisted YouTube playlist, and a sign asking, "Is Onion Rat really safe?" 3 videos. The first revealed that we were never alone. Under our feet and behind buildings, Nameless was always there, watching. The second revealed that there was a traitor in our midst, whether they were aware of it or not. The person who left offerings to it that empowered the Scuttle enough to wreak greater destruction on the server was Chroma.
Yep, right there. That's the thing.
You have 5 seconds to talk. You have 5 seconds to explain what this is.
Yep, book and quill.
It's a shrine. I found it.
Hey, where you go? Where you go?
What are you doing?
I do
Getting
think
threatened.
that was quite the aggressive approach. When we lack every ounce of context we could have. So let's give them the sympathy of giving you crap.
You're right. I'm sorry. Chroma was just a kid. Bright eyes, bushy tail, and a heart in the wrong place. He wasn't to blame for being the unlucky pawn the Scuttle needed to get stronger. I was. As for the third video in the playlist, it revealed that Scuttle was toying with us, and that it could take over Ice or any other player at any time. It wasn't going to stop finding and destroying things. Why did Nameless show this to us? Was it really Nameless at all, or was this Scuttle taunting us? Knowing Nameless is constantly on the run and at the mercy of the Scuttle, do we really need to keep playing along with their puzzles? Will cooperating even let us reach the desired ending?
I don't think we should trust Scuttle. I mean, it was the one who was killing all of us this entire time. Why don't we just return the body back to where it was and keep crap alive?
Well, that's the thing. That's how gods are. They don't just want things to go back to normal. They want revenge. They want pay.
The Scuttle wants me, Crabline, dead for disturbing its corpse. I could manage that. If I never built the crab base outside of Ash's home, if I never entered Ash's life, if I never logged on the server, if I never existed, surely everyone would have been so much more happier. When I got married to Ice, I always knew I would die someday by their hands. But then they treated me so tenderly. Even though I knew what needed to be done, I couldn't help but think that I wanted to live. In spite of being riddled with sin, I wanted to stay with Ice. Can't we just, hold on hope? Can't I live another day?
Nameless hasn't given us any reason to trust him. We've just been following it blindly, and we And we haven't gotten anything in return but vague hints that things are gonna get better, and trust me.
The players had 3 options. Give in to Scuttle's demands and kill Crab. Refuse to kill Crab and believe in Nameless. Do nothing and postpone the verdict. Ian, a player whom I had defended in the trial for the missing garlic hamster. Too righteous and soft-hearted for their own good.
Well, we just shouldn't be giving up on you, should we? If it was anyone else, the same thing would stand for them.
As Ian's best friend, he was a victim to Skull's possession too, but he owed nothing to me. Even so, I saw Ian whispering into S's ears, begging him to not vote kill. He let out a sigh of concession. Hat, the deadliest queerbaiter, his partner Satu, who didn't care for humans, and Clover, their son with a bright but impressionable mind. Reiko, a young builder that struggled to find normalcy and belonging in a foreign place. Malter, who desperately wished for things to go back to normal like they used to be. She suffered her first death under my possessed hands. Vincent, a builder and younger member of the server, who turned out to be the culprit that burned down the church. Even if we weren't close, he'd witnessed enough death in his life. Ant, Lemon's husband and a ruler of a faction called the Queerbait Kingdom, had attacked and killed their players before, and he wasn't afraid to show his hostility towards me. Dusty, another ruler of the Queerbait Kingdom, Lemon's best friend in the whole world. Brody, the Kingdom's guard. He, Ash, and I were once good friends. Roma, the poor lamb and self-proclaimed evil wizard. His bleeding heart could not decide between the anguish of a fallen god and the anguish of the players. Ice, someone who was once my enemy, and now my most beloved person. And lastly, Ash Ghostbulls, my former wife. Callously, as if choosing between the color of their walls instead of my life and death, they sent a message through chat. Death.
I don't know how to say this, but you lost by 1. You're dying.
Your Honor, can I have the privilege of choosing how I die?
You do. I'll give you that. I don't like killing people. Oh shit.
I'm realizing now that when I look into everyone's eyes, it's the last time I'll see them.
Crab, listen to me. I want you to know that outside of my millions of jobs, you were still my friend. I'm sorry it ended up this way.
It'd be an honor to die by the hands of the person I love most. Of course. I love you. And I'm sorry.
Worth what? What does one wish matter in the scheme of the unforgiving universe? Then surely it should prove it. Where? Yeah. To save the server from destruction. My story had ended, but the server was buzzing with life. Players and audience were on the stage, acting and directing their own fates. Ash, no longer tied to the world by their relationship to me, moved with a new purpose, to resurrect the Ender Dragon, to graze their fingers past life even as a ghost. Chroma, with his great merciful god, the Scuttle, gone, fell deeper into his delusions along with Vincent. He gave the reins to something not quite human nor divine. Visions of the ideal of a perpetually dying boy. Lemon, with the status of a god and a ruler, yet with the heart of a human, shut down. After witnessing the ugly depths of human nature, was he disillusioned with this world? Was it worth staying in? Ice, unable to cope with the emotional consequences of being human, had to learn how to become strong and take revenge all on their own. That wish for peace, for things to return to the way they were, was satisfied. The Garlic Hamster Church was rebuilt better and stronger, though what came of Onion Rat and Garlic Hamster never really mattered anyway. It was always the players that made this story work. And Crablight, the character I once was, could finally exit stage left. Nameless left one last message, an explanation of the history between them and Scuttle. Nameless and Scuttle weren't human, but perhaps they were the closest to understanding what it meant to be one after all. As all things do, the server's prime eventually came to a halt after several months, but the stories everyone created were amazing. How could I have ever imagined that I would be making so many friends on a Minecraft server? Imagine that summer, I would be going to VidCon with a print of my Doom Toxic Yuri ship art and get members of the Lifesteal SMP to sign it. I even got the marriage between me and Ice blessed by Squiddo, Ashwick, and Spoke, the founders of the Garlic Hamster plot point in hit Minecraft's scripted series Unstable Universe. After that, I went back to the normalcy of a real life, working a job, taking the train every day towards the sea. Without the server to keep us together, Ice and I inevitably grew apart. The 6-hour time zone gap seemed to widen until, eventually, Ice left the internet. But even if the people in our lives are gone, the colors through our eyes won't fade. The country mouse never forgot the impression of the city's skyline it saw together with the city mouse. The frog in the well could never return to its small hole after tasting how vast the sea could be. I like to imagine that the universe is kind, that if we wish for something with all our hearts, it'll be merciful, that someday our wishes might transcend the story we're trapped in and create a new possibility, an epilogue. In most Minecraft ARGs, there is no story without the players. In this one, so long as the players are here, there is no need to create a story.